Welcome, welcome. This is Real Talk Baseball. I'm Carlos Baseball. With me, as always, is Will Power, Xavi, and Ernie Orange. We're doing a long, big podcast for you guys. We're doing the Home Run Derby. We're talking All Star. We're talking injuries. We're talking a little bit of fantasy baseball since we're going to go into the little break. But before we go ahead and start, I want to go ahead and say what's up to everybody and give you a chance to say what's up to everybody that's watching this show. Let's start with you, Will Power. How's it going, dude?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing today?
Hopefully they're doing good, man, because they're here,
Good.
right? Xavi,
Yeah,
what's up, man?
Hey.
How's it going, dude?
hopefully we have no technical difficulties today.
All right, that's the
I'm good,
key
bro. I'm
word.
good, brother. I'm good. Happy to have all of you guys on here. I know we don't do it often, so it's always cool when everybody can get on at the same time.
Yep. And Ernie, man, what's up with you, dude? Everything good?
Hey, Carlos, everything's doing well over here. We're out here at T-Mobile Park already, getting ready for the Home Run Derby. So tune in
Oh, that's
for this
T-Mobile Park.
great recap we have for this. We're here at T-Mobile Park. Yeah,
That's what it is.
right.
All right, cool. All right, well, let's get started with the Home Run Derby. I know we have predictions, and we each one of us we gave our predictions. And who do you want to start with? I think we should start with let's go with Xavi, man. Go ahead and start with you, dude. And Will, I know you got the slides there, and we can pull them up, and we can discuss why you picked those guys. And I think it's a good idea to explain. I don't know. Give me some background on it, I guess.
Just have a little story why we
The
picked.
method
Yeah.
to your madness.
So
Yeah. We'll do that.
let's see. I think I picked. Fuck. Hey, hold on. Let me push.
Here you go. It's on the screen right here,
It's
bro.
on the screen for you.
Okay.
It's on the
Okay.
screen.
Gracias.
Yeah.
So, we're going through this, and I looked at the first round. Luis Robert, perdón.
That's right.
He's been putting on a show this season. He's going up against Rushman. Um, this one's an easy pick for me. I feel like Robert is having a breakout. Um, don't really know him as a home run guy, but he's got 25, I think, so far. So this was kind of an easy pick for me. Even though maybe Rauschman is maybe a little bigger dude. He's known for his bat. But I picked that's why I picked Robert here. Um, Dolis Garcia against Rosarena. This one was a little tough for me, but um, Garcia's got a huge bat, dude. Like he can hit bombs like big, like far, like lengthy bombs, dude. And he just kind of sticks out for me. Um, and then Mookie and Vladdy. Um, I don't consider Mookie a big home run guy. He's having a great season. Don't get me wrong, but Vladdy's Vladdy, and when Vladdy can get it going, he's pretty much up there, dude. And the last one is, what is that? J Rod and Pete. I'm going with Polar on this one, man. I don't know if J Rod can duplicate what he did last year's home run derby. So then I got, what is that? Robert and Garcia against Guerrero and Alonso. I'm going Garcia, big bat versus big bat. Garcia versus Alonso, and I'm picking Alonso to. It's not three-peat, right? I don't think he won it last year, did he?
No.
No,
Julio
right?
won it last year.
But he's won it twice, back to
Yes.
back. So I'm picking Pete. You know what is funny about Alonso? I feel like he's kind of gone under the radar this season just because the Mets aren't a great team. So he's still putting up numbers, dude. He's got 26 home runs this season. So I'm sticking with Polar, dude.
That's
That's
your
my
pick.
Yeah,
All
that's my
right.
prediction.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll get a debate going right now, I guess. Let's go with you, Will. Let's show your home run derby.
It's actually kind of crazy because I was doing my picks when I texted you guys, like, hey, can you guys send me your picks so I can make these edits, right? So I finished mine up. I screenshotted mine. I made my little bracket right here, and it is the exact same thing as Javi's. I picked all the same exact players as Javi did.
Great minds think alike, bro.
For real. No,
Man.
honestly, like I completely agree with everything that Javi said. Uh, just to kind of like go into it a little bit more,
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Adley Rutschman, I don't see him being that like power bat. Like he has some pop in his bat for a catcher, but when you're going up against a guy, a center fielder, a big center fielder like Luis Robert from the White Sox, like this dude, like he just pumps out home runs like nothing, man. He's super young. He's only 25 years old, already has 25 home runs, before the All-Star break. If he can continue that pace, a 50 homer season from a 25-year-old, when's the last time we've seen that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
I don't think it's going to happen. 50 is a lot, and he is kind of notorious for getting hurt, but I'm still going to give him the advantage in the Derby this season. Adolis Garcia and Arozarena, I think Adolis just has that like raw power versus Arozarena, which is he's more like a 5-tool player. Arozarena he flashes the glove. He's a good base runner, which we've seen him, be bad in the past, but he's fast. He has, good hand-eye coordination. He squares up the ball a lot. But Adolis Garcia, he hits the ball so freaking hard, man. 92.5 average exit velocity, 115 max exit velocity this year. That's actually very similar to Randy Arozarena. So Randy Arozarena is a 92.7 average exit velocity, which is 0.2 miles per hour higher than Garcia, and just 1 mile an hour lower on the max exit velocity. So I know he hits the ball really hard, but I feel like Adolis just has that like edge on him. He hits the ball a little bit higher in the air, and I think he'll come out on top. I don't think there's any competition right there, honestly. And then with Mookie hits the ball very hard, but it's line drives all the time. Mm-hmm. And we've seen how like guys like Alex Bregman that hit line drives that were in the home run derby before, they don't last. Maybe he'll get past the first round, but against a guy like Vlad, that's not happening, man. Unless something really terrible happens with Vlad where, he's just not squaring up the ball or something. But Vlad has experience in the home run derby. So I got to give the advantage to Vlad that hits the ball super hard. He actually has the highest max exit velocity out of all the contestants this season with 116.7 miles an hour. That's a really hard-hitting first baseman. And, dude, he's only 24 years old. Like, we've been talking about Vlad for so long. It just seems like he's been in the league for, 5-6 years. This guy debuted 3 years ago.
That's crazy.
It is really crazy. And I got to go with experience in this last one with Pete Alonso versus J-Rod. J-Rod actually looks a lot better on paper this season. Higher average exit velocity, higher max exit velocity, higher slug. Like everything looks good. Higher max distance on his home run. So J-Rod's max distance is a 454 foot home run this season, and Pete Alonso was 448, which is only 6 feet. That's not much of a difference. But I feel like Pete Alonso is made for the home run derby. Like that's just what he does, dude. He knows how to get the ball up and over, and he just hits the ball so freaking hard, man. He doesn't even he's not as big as Aaron Judge, but he's like Aaron Judge where all he has to do is just kind of square up on the ball. He doesn't even really need to put a lot of power into it. I feel like just because the way that his body is shaped and made, it's just made for this type of competition. And I think Pete Alonso is going to take it again for the third time.
Gotcha.
He makes it look so effortless, bro. It's crazy.
He really does.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Well, I know you guys picked Pete Alonso, but I went another way. Well, I guess because Ernie's not here, so I guess I'll go. If you can go ahead and put my slide up, dude. So since you guys picked Pete Alonso, I'll just go into it. Vladimir Guerrero, because he's been there. You guys already mentioned he's been there in the home run derby. And I feel like the years before, he didn't have that experience and he didn't have that longevity of like knowing what to like expect in the home run derby. So now that he's been doing it for a couple of years now, I feel that he's going to come on top. Now, it's not going to be easy because he has to I think the first round for him is with Mookie Betts. And like you guys said, he's more of a line drive hitter. I don't think Mookie Betts can go on. And maybe he proves me wrong, right? But For
Right.
now, I'm picking Vladimir Guerrero in that stage. So then I move on to the next round. He faces Pete Alonso, and this is where I feel that Guerrero has had the problem before with whenever he faced anybody else in the home run derby. He's always had that tough opponent. He's always gone up to, I guess, remember against Jock Peterson, they hit like 20 something, 30 something home runs. They were back and forward going to the extra round. And then Pete Alonso only hit like 7 home runs in the last round and he won, right? So, or it could have been more. I don't know. But I think Vladimir Guerrero got tired in that round. The year after that, the similar thing happened to where he had a tough opponent and he had to swing that bat a lot more times than Pete Alonso did. So now they're in that bracket, and that bracket there is going to probably even, like, to me, it's going to be one of those competitive round for Pete Alonso and Vlad. And I feel like maybe I did pick Vlad, but I might be wrong because they're gonna be going back and forth on this one, and both of them are power bats. They're both first basemen, and I just feel like he comes on top in that round. The final round, he's gonna face Adolis Garcia, and that's where I feel like he can come on top with energy. And I mean, come on, Pete Alonso is not someone that you can just beat like with a freaking, with a wiffle ball bat. This guy is tough as hell. So you coming off of beating the champ, a 2-time champ. I don't think he won it last year. I think wasn't it J-Rod that won it last year?
Yeah, it was J-Rod.
Right? So
he
if
did.
he beats
You're right.
him,
You're right.
if he beats Pete Alonso, he's just gonna feel a lot more energy going into that next round, which is the final round. And that's why I picked him to go on top. He's a little bit older now, like he's more experienced, he knows what to expect. But I feel like that bracket down there, it's more tough than the one up there. Which is, you have all the other opponents, but I don't know. What do you guys feel? Do you guys feel that it's going to be easy for Pete Alonso? I just feel like
definitely
it's
not.
not.
No.
It's not. It's not. So that's why I'm saying I picked Vlad only because he's going to face Alonso and he's going to have that energy and take it to the final. But it could go to where, like, damn, this guy he got all those swings against Pete Alonso and he gets to the finals and he's gassed out. Yeah. So that's happened to him. So now he has to prove it, and this is the year he has to do it.
Yeah,
I feel.
One thing that none of us mentioned is if you look at these contestants, just look at the right side and just look at all the contestants. You get an extra 30 seconds if you hit 2 440-foot home runs.
Yeah.
And just looking at this side, I don't think Adley Rutschman's going to do it. I don't think Mookie Betts is going to do it. So automatically, those are the reasons why I took those two guys out. I don't think they hit the ball far enough, especially when the ball's only coming 50 miles an hour. It's not coming 99. It's a lot easier to hit it farther when the velocity off of a pitch is coming a lot faster inside. But, off of just batting practice, Mookie Betts even, I saw that he wasn't even taking practice swings off of the pitcher that he chose, which is his bench coach pitcher for the Dodgers. He was just watching the ball as it was coming, kind of like analyzing the pitches. I did notice though that his coach that he picked, he was throwing it in the exact same spot every single pitch, very consistent, which is very, very important. As we saw with Bryce Harper a few years ago, even though he won it, his dad was all over. He wasn't throwing consistently right down the middle where Harper wanted it. It was kind of inside, and then it was outside, and then it was up, and it was down. And he kind of cheated a little bit. I'm just going to put it out there. He kind of cheated a little bit because they're supposed to wait until the ball drops to the ground, and then the pitcher's supposed to be able to throw another ball. They weren't waiting. They were just going. And it just seemed like MLB was just like, all right, fine. He's Bryce Harper. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
WTF.
Yeah, that sucked, man. I know. I remember that. And it kind of sucked. But it is what it is. The MLB didn't do anything about it. I think they did that with Pujols too, where the ball hadn't even landed and they threw the last one and he hit it out. And I think he went to the next round, right? So I think there's I guess there's not a rule, or they need to fix that rule. I don't know. It's the home run derby. It's just all fun.
Away or enforce it. There can't be any gray area. There's no gray area in sports. It's black and white, and it has to be, because that's the only way you can make it fair on both sides.
That's true. Well, we lost
That is
Ernie. We had technical difficulties. If he comes back on, then we'll go ahead and put
I
him on
should
the
have knocked
side.
on wood, man. I shouldn't even opened up my big mouth. It's a baseball show. We should be superstitious as hell, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm
Yep.
saying none
Yep.
of that.
My
You
fault.
don't.
Right
My
on the
bad,
money, bro.
Ernie.
Yeah, you don't mention any internet. You don't mention none of that stuff. Just like you don't step on the white line when you're going onto the field. You jump over it. All right. All right. So the home run derby. Are you guys excited for it or not excited for it?
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
Super
I'm always
excited.
excited for that. Always.
Do you guys stay and watch it all, or you guys change the channel? Or
Unfortunately, I usually watch it the next day because I work so early. And
No.
living on the East Coast,
I
you
watch
know, the game the derby just starts so late for me. You know, it's like I'm already in bed by the time it starts. So I'm hoping that I don't see any results until the next day when I can actually come home.
You're
and
gonna have
watch
to be off your phone, bro.
I know. And like
put on
it's
silent.
the good thing is there's no fantasy next week, at least until Friday. So I
Yeah.
don't have to worry about trying to set my lineup and doing all these crazy
Yep.
things.
Oh.
You know.
Exactly. You just have to worry about this week and finishing this week strong. That's all you got to do.
Honestly,
Oh, I'm already done, bro.
I'm facing
That's
a
a
chump
wrap.
this week. So
I gave Will the dub. Yeah, I gave him the dub already, bro.
bro,
There was
I'm
absolutely no way. I just had
I'm projected to have like 650 points, and I haven't made one
Dude.
roster move this week yet.
fucking
Damn, that sucks for you, man.
Edmund just landed on the IL too, bro. So
Yeah, he
that's
did.
5 guys on my IL.
I'm
dude.
really
I'm
close
like,
to
all right.
dropping Edmund in my other league.
WTF?
Yeah.
Sucks for you, man.
Yes,
Just
sir.
give him that. Well, look, I don't think I've watched the entire home run derby. I think the only one that I watched completely was when Jock Peterson was on it, and I felt like
That's your
Jock
boy.
Peterson should have won. Exactly, that's my boy. You my boy, Jock. If you're listening now. Anyway, like I don't see the home run derby like I used to. I don't see the All-Star game like I used to, which brings me to the next point. Are you guys excited for the All-Star game? I know there's a lot of injuries, and I think that's something we should discuss because there's a lot of injuries before the All-Star game that kind of makes you think a little bit. The season is a lot longer than what people expect it to be. Like, remember what this season is not the same. Why? Because time. This game is moving fast paced, is getting players a little bit more tired. I was talking to Ernie, and you know it sucks that he's not here, but I was talking to him, and I saw Shohei Ohtani when he had that 10K 2 home run game. When they took him out in that game when he was pitching, he looked exhausted, dude. He went and sat down in the dugout, and he looked like he's just like winded. He came up, he hit that second home run. It didn't even look like he swung that hard, but he hit it out. He came back, he sat down on that bench, and he looked super tired. So I feel because of the pace of the game now, it's just getting these players super tired. I know we've had injuries in the past and all these things, and people question those injuries. But you have Kershaw, you have Trout had a broken wrist, I believe, and then you have and then Ohtani. Like it's not going to be part of it's not going to be part of the All-Star team. There's a lot more players out there that's not going to be involved. Do you guys see like these trends? Do you guys feel the same that I do? Do you feel like
Definitely.
it kind of sucks though, right? It's kind of
There's
suspect.
a lot of pitchers that are very vocal about it too, that they believe that either the reason for their struggles or the reason for their injuries is because of the time clock.
Yeah.
And Christian Yelich even said like 15 seconds is not enough.
It's not.
You know, that's nowhere near enough. It needs to be 20 seconds all across the board for runners on or off, it doesn't matter, or make it 20 and 25 instead of 15 and 20. That extra 5 seconds is really crucial. Yeah, and I believe that owners are kind of like in the same agreement as the players with extending the clock because they're losing a lot of concession sales as well. Ticket sales are expensive for most MLB ballparks, some more than others, but major league ballparks, football, basketball, baseball, it doesn't matter. They make all their money on concessions. That's why you buy a $14 beer. It only costs them $4, $3 or $4. And so they're making a $10 or $11 profit on that shit. Yeah. And if you're not there for 3 hours, you're only there for 2 hours. That means you're spending a lot less money in addition to the other 50,000 people that are in the arena with you.
Yep. Yeah. And it sucks. Javi, what you got, man?
Yeah. I agree, man. honestly, dude, ever since I really started paying attention to baseball, I've never seen this many injuries, bro, before the All-Star break. It's insane. And a lot of them are pitchers, dude. Pitchers.
Yeah,
Dude, you were talking about Kershaw, McClanahan. Like,
yeah,
that's a big, big name. These are big names, dude. Big names. Aaron Judge, you know, it's just, I look at, I'm in the fantasy league with you guys, and I'm always looking at the IL and all the players that are in the IL. I've never seen as many injured players as it is right now.
There's a lot.
And I honestly do feel like, yeah, I honestly do feel like these guys need their time on the mound in order to kind of get warmed up. Everybody has a routine. Everybody has, they gotta set themselves up or whatever. And the fact that they're on a clock, it's in the back of their head. Like, all right, I gotta hurry up. I gotta speed this shit up, or they're gonna call a strike, or whatnot, and it's gonna affect the team, and and especially in a close game, like you take all these variables in, man, and it sucks. I mean, yeah, it's cool that the games don't go as long as they used to, but I mean, being a baseball fan, has that ever really mattered? I love watching baseball. Don't matter to me. You can
It's
go fucking extra innings. I don't give a
I think the biggest issue is instead of shaving, 20 minutes off the game or even 30 minutes, they shaved off 45 minutes. And that's just too much. No one wants to watch a
Yeah,
baseball game for 2 hours. You can't even enjoy it
yeah.
that way. It's like you go to the bathroom and you come back and the half inning is over already. What the
yep,
fuck? You know,
Hmm.
I want to be able to see most pitches. I'm a big fan of pitching, so I want to be able to watch
Yeah.
every single pitch. And then sometimes I get distracted with my phone, and then usually, like before, I would be on my phone and I would look up and make sure I watch every pitch. But now it's like I look down at my phone and the batter's out or the batter
The
already
inning's
got on.
over.
What the hell?
The
yeah,
How
inning's
the hell did
over.
that happen? And I grab my PlayStation
Yep.
controller and have to rewind it and have to watch it over again.
yeah. So look, this is the reason why I brought that up, and it's like one of those things where I feel like a lot of baseball people are noticing these injuries right before the All Star game. And are they real or are they fake? I mean, like they can't fake an injury, right? But they can say, I feel tired, I feel this, or I started feeling that, my elbow hurts, or whatever the case may be. And it kind of sucks for the fans that did buy that ticket to go see the All Star game in Seattle. Like one of the things that I do remember, and I want to say here is like Kobe Bryant. He always said, "I want to play every single game because that person that bought that ticket that sits all the way
Yes,
above on top of that stadium,
bro.
I want him
Yep.
to see me play. So I'm gonna play every game." And
That's
I know not
awesome.
everybody takes that approach, but having that approach in baseball or in any sport is huge. It's huge. Ernie, are you back with us, dude? I think so.
Hey guys,
Oh
Starting to cut
man,
guys,
right when he
out.
do I
talks,
sound
right
right?
when he talks.
Just when he started to talk.
No.
You good? You good right there? All right. Yeah, I think he
Hey,
was.
what's going on, guys? Yeah, man. You guys
Okay.
sound good now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go for
Yeah,
it.
good.
So,
Yeah, go for it.
hey, man,
Do
this
you want to
this
go
All Star
back to
game
your
is
picks for the
yeah,
Derby?
sure. Let's go back to the picks. I would actually appreciate that. We could take back.
Yeah.
So I have a pretty big surprise. I have Julio Rodriguez winning, the home kid. I just feel like he knows T-Mobile Park really well. He's kind of been running kind of under the radar, not having his best season just yet as his sophomore season. But I definitely think he could surprise a lot of people and take out Pete Alonso. I mean, you guys are aware that Pete Alonso just came back from a wrist injury, and there is a big concern that I don't think, the Derby's really fast, guys, and there's like a 3-minute timer. And I just don't think Pete Alonso could repeat the third time. So I'm going to shock everybody and go with the hometown kid. And I think Jay Rodriguez is going to win it all. What do you guys think about that?
Dude, it's just we went through it. Like we
We
went.
love
I
surprises.
talked. Yeah, so we talked about how Pete Alonso in that bracket down there with Vladimir Guerrero. It's not a back pick, but I just feel like because Vladimir has been there before, and I feel like and I've already said that, but I just want to tell you so you can hear is
Okay.
that he had that battle with Jock Peterson a few years ago, and that kind of like took the toll when he made it to the championship. Same thing happened last year too, where he got tired and he didn't make it all the way. But this year I feel like he's going all the way, and these guys have Pete Alonso, so I'm kind of having that little battle, and I think we have the bottom bracket right? All those guys are on the bottom bracket, and that's where
That's true.
that's where the champions coming from. That's where
Yep,
that's
that
what
is
we're
true.
predicting, right?
Yep. And that's my concern with Guerrero. I just think his stamina and condition is just not there, and that's my biggest worry with him. And obviously he's a very powerful
Oh.
guy, but I just kind of worried that he won't
Yeah.
make
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. Anybody wants a rebuttal?
it.
He did lose weight over the off season. I
He
mean,
did?
I think he's finally getting. He did. He shed some pounds. So I feel like he's starting to take this a little bit more serious. I don't know if I can
Yeah.
say the same about Manoa, but that's another story.
That's another story
And
for another
I
day.
feel like maybe Manoa, going back to the pitch clock, maybe him and Sandy Alcantara are two of the biggest losers when it comes to the pitch clock. Maybe this is really hindering their game. I mean, I never really paid attention how long Alcantara and Manoa were taking to make pitches, consecutively, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of underlying stuff that we don't really see and we don't really know, and there's not enough studies on it to really understand what's going on with these players because they've never had to deal with this before. There's a lot of younger guys that are coming up. I'm surprised Manoa is not used to this already because in college the pitch clock has already been implemented. Now the biggest difference there is that it was the 30-second clock and not a 15 or 20-second clock. So maybe that could be a big difference, but I feel like most pitchers don't even take 30 seconds anyway. I think Pedro Baez was kind of notorious for taking a really long time in between pitches, and I think he was clocked around like 35 seconds. So that was like the max. And Kenley Jansen is another one that would take a long time because of their routines that they go through. We've seen batters and pitchers alike that go through their routines every single time they either are about to get in the box to take an at bat or on the mound about to throw a pitch. We've seen Zach Greinke, he touches mouth and his glove, a few different times, and then that's just his routine. Or Kershaw, how he has that slow wind, he's up,
freaking
down,
Clevenger, man, with that toe tapping shit.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Or
I
dude,
can't get over that.
Yankees guy. What's his name? The mustache dude.
Oh, Nestor Cortez.
Nestor Cortez.
Yep.
This dude takes freaking forever to get into his windup, and he's on the IL too, So it's definitely fucking with everybody in baseball. I'm sure there's some players that actually like it, but maybe it's because it's these players that were playing in college ball that are used to the faster paced game anyway.
Yeah, the game is getting younger though, for sure. To talk about what Pedro Baez, he had an inning that he didn't throw a pitch till 2 minutes and 32 seconds. So he took he took as long as an inning takes now to throw one pitch. So imagine that. And that was in the playoffs. That was in the playoffs. So yeah, we're not going back to those days, I know for sure. But the clock does have something to do with people that are kind of like not doing their best right now. So we do see a lot of people going into the IL, and the pace of the game is not just affecting pitchers, it's affecting other players as well. Yeah. And we'll see in the second half of baseball how it goes. Maybe they should shorten the season, and maybe that's the question. Because of the pace of the game, do you think that they should shorten the season? Maybe just the All-Star game, have it all week. Just, have the players take a rest all week and do whatever they want, and then start the season on Monday and then move forward. You think that's an idea that could probably be in place? And then, of course, take those 5 games away from the from the schedule. That way they have less games, because they have been talking about putting less games out there, right? And the game is getting younger and the pace of the game is getting faster. So, I mean, I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts. Like, Will, do you feel like that should be one of the things that should happen?
There's a lot of things that really could happen and that should happen. Like, why do I only have to work 5 days a week, but sometimes these guys have to work, 13 days in a row, and then they finally get a day off, and it's not just going out there and playing a game. It's the BP before, it's taking, fielding grounders before the game. It's the 6-hour plane ride that they just got off of, and then they go to the hotel and sleep for 4 hours and then wake up, have their nutritious breakfast, go hit the gym, and then hit the field after. There's so many factors involved. I think one thing that could really benefit all these MLB players is every team has 2 days off every week. You know,
Yeah.
do you know anyone that watches the 162 games every season?
There's this one guy from the Angels that's going to 162 games for the Angels in every stadium. So yeah, I believe it.
Okay,
You got the time. You got the time and the money. Why not, right?
The time, the money. He's probably retired, you know. And but in all seriousness, like, there's no one really that watches 162 games except for that freaking crazy ass. You know, I tried to watch the 60 games in the shortened 2020 season, and I didn't even make it to 60. Man, it's just we all have lives, and we take it. It's a summer sport. We all take vacations. You know, we all have weekends where we want to go and do things with the family, or you know, whatever it is that you want to do. And you can't watch 162 games, but I guarantee you that there's a lot of that basically every big NFL fan does not miss football on Sundays. Every single Sunday, they watch their 17 games per season.
It's only 17 games, you know? Man.
Yep.
Exactly. Now, I'm not saying that baseball should shorten it to 17 games. That's just stupid, because you don't have just one starting pitcher like you do in football. You have one starting quarterback, you know, and you play the same guys every single week unless there's an injury. In baseball, it's different because you know, these guys have to get regular days off, and it has to be scheduled, you know, and there's so many factors that kind of just go into it. But do we really need 162 games? I don't think we need 162 games. You know, I think even 100 is a lot, but make it 100, you know, make it close to 100, something like that. If you have two days off every single week, if every team has 2 days off every single week, that'll cut down. How many weeks is the baseball season? Like
26, 27, probably.
So that's 2 days off every week. So that's like basically 2 months off, you know, for the whole season. And these guys will stay healthy. You know, they won't be getting into like these little shenanigans that they've been getting into, these stupid little injuries that shouldn't happen. It's just their bodies are getting worn out, you know, and the body can only handle so much. So Anthony Rizzo was actually very infamous for saying that he loves playing the game, but he really hates playing 162 games.
Yeah, he was really vocal about that. Anybody else agree or disagree with this?
I'm a big fan of changing it to at least 154 games. I do think that people really do care about baseball. There are some really big baseball nerds out there, guys, and they really enjoy their baseball. And then if you were to shorten the season that drastically, it would affect a lot of people's statistics. So that's my only concern. Yeah. Like, you're no longer going to see that 300 game winner. No longer going to see that 200 strikeout guy. No more 3,000 hits. Say goodbye to 500 home runs. So I do definitely think we need at least 154 games.
Pitchers would never have a 2-start week anymore.
I think we just got to go more back to a 6-man rotation to, you know, extend the longevity of these pitchers lasting the whole year, and making sure that every player gets at least a day off every week.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? You know, make them play 7 days, but at least make sure these guys get a day off every week. And you rotate your lineup anyway, you know, might as well just give these guys a rest day here and there.
Like make it mandatory?
Kind of make it mandatory and not let these guys play. Most players are not even playing 162 games anyway these days. Most players are always hitting the IL stint once in a while. So I think it would just be best giving them a rest day. Like, hey, you know what? Go spend some time with your family that Saturday night. You know, you take that Friday night. And I feel like the Angels were doing that really well with the team. Mike Trout was a great example. They were giving him every Tuesday off for some odd reason on Tuesdays. But, you know, it still didn't work out. He still got hurt.
He likes his tacos.
Exactly. You beat me to Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. But I think so. I think the thing is
when you bloated off of tacos.
Yeah. So I think what's happening.
That's why he's always injured, bro.
I feel like maybe the what happened here is that they're not taking care of business. What is it called? Load management in basketball? Right?
Yes.
When they have to rest, which is something I think they need to apply here in baseball. Do you agree, Xavi, or disagree that they should shorten the season or the games? Actually, I guess. Can you hear me? Xavi, you hear me? I don't think you hear us.
Oh, yeah.
You're good. You're good, dude. All right, let's move on, man. We have the rosters for the All-Star game. You want to put that up, Will, and we can go ahead and discuss that. Since we already talked about the injuries, we won't get to see our favorite players. Well, all of our favorite players there, but we get to see some of them. And is there someone in this roster that you feel that should be part of the All-Star team that didn't get called to the team? And whoever wants to go first can go.
The
Ahead
thing
and
that
do it.
sucks is that the All-Star starters are fan voted.
Yeah.
I think that's so stupid, because there are a lot of teams that don't have the biggest fan base, but their players are so much better than whoever does get selected for a starter. Like Josh Young, from Texas. Like, he's like a big sensation this season, and he's probably going to be rookie of the year for American League. But to not let Jose Ramirez start the All-Star game, like, I don't get that, dude.
That's weird.
That makes no sense to me. I think Josh Young actually has a higher batting average than Jose Ramirez, but that's it. Jose Ramirez has more home runs, more RBIs, more runs scored, more stolen bases. He has a shitload less strikeouts. Like, Josh Young strikes out so much. I think he almost has 100 this season already, when Jose Ramirez has like 36.
Yeah,
I think that was a big snub right there. But there's a lot more fans in Texas that follow the Rangers than there are that in Cleveland.
You know what?
Well, go ahead.
I'm just not excited to see 5 Texas Rangers start the All-Star game.
I know, that's crazy.
I'm sorry. Adolis Garcia just got announced as one of the starters, and I'm not looking forward to the All-Star game seeing 5 Rangers out there. Like you mentioned, there's some bigger names out there that should be starting. Just with the catcher position, don't get me wrong, Jonah Heim is a great catcher this year, but adleyrutschman and Salvador Perez are just doing so much better personally.
I'd much rather see Perez.
I'd rather watch both guys starting.
Yep.
This kind of All-Star game is kind of a bummer. All these injuries are definitely hurting the game, and we're hoping that this is just once in a lifetime that this happened, but hoping for the next All-Star game to be much better.
I was actually wondering about that, Ernie. I didn't hear who was replacing Mike Trout and Aaron Judge. I was kind of wondering, and I know Dusty Baker is the manager of the AL All-Star game this year, so I was just thinking that it's probably going to be Kyle Tucker, because Kyle Tucker took Aaron Judge's spot in the reserves.
That's correct. And Austin Hayes, if I'm not mistaken, took Mike Trout's spot.
Oh,
as a starter.
That's not what I saw.
No,
that's not what I saw. No, I saw Trout was replaced by Kyle Tucker, and Aaron Judge was replaced by Wander Franco.
Wander Franco.
Yeah, because he wasn't in it. He wasn't in it, dude.
No, he wasn't. But why would an infielder replace an outfielder?
I don't know.
That's weird.
They just got an extra man, but they just basically needed another body to fill up this All-Star roster.
I mean, but did they really? Look at these reserves. Look at the AL reserves compared to the NL reserves. You got like, what was that? Four extra reserve players on the AL roster.
Yep, that's what it looks like.
And look at the pitchers too. There's a shitload of pitchers for AL versus NL too.
And then Rodriguez took Yordan Alvarez's spot.
Oh, that's right.
See, that's where I have a problem. I have a problem with all these fans voting in injured players into the All-Star game. Like, why are you doing that?
It's obvious that they just don't even pay attention. They just, I know that name, so I'm going to click that.
Look, the reason why they have so many Rangers in the starting lineup is because they're in first place. They're finally playing good baseball, and those names are getting mentioned a lot more, which is fine. It's okay. But remember when the Kansas City Royals were playing in the World Series? They lost to the Giants, and then they won. Forget who they won against, but they had the Mets. They had a lot of freaking players on that starting lineup that was batting 250 or below, and that made no sense. So this is where I have a problem with fans voting for the starting lineup, because they don't pay attention to what it really matters. Like, if you're going to send a team out there that's representing your league, you should send the player that's not injured, that's playing good, that deserves to be there. And that's why I didn't even vote, to be honest. I haven't even voted for this All-Star game, and that's where I feel like I don't even watch the All-Star game because one, the injuries, which is we just talk about. Two, fans are voting for their what do you call it, their favorite players, which is they're in the injured list, right? And then three, like, what are they playing for? Are they playing to have home field advantage? They're not doing that anymore. So what am I watching for? What am I doing? I'm watching it on TV to see all these superstars play together, but not all superstars are playing together. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like the players that are in the IL, those are the players I really want to see in the All-Star.
But not only that, but it's like, look at all these guys in the
there.
reserves. We there's so many guys in the reserves that I'd much rather see than is in the starting lineup.
Dude,
now,
yeah,
I completely
hell yeah.
It's American League and National League are completely different, because I look at the National League starting lineup and I'm like, wow, this is actually like really, really good. Except for Orlando Arcia. I don't really understand Orlando Arcia, but then I went over, I looked online today and I was looking at top National League shortstops, and then I was like, oh, that's why Orlando Arcia is starting in the All-Star game, because all the shortstops in the National League suck this year.
He's up there, yeah. And he's up there because you just said it. They all suck. Yeah. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I do agree with the National League, and not because there's like 3 Dodgers on there. I honestly feel maybe Mookie Betts doesn't belong there. There's probably an outfielder that's playing way better than him, but he is Castellanos, right? So he's in the reserve. So maybe flip that one up.
Juan Soto on the All-Star team when he's
trash?
He was terrible.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts of like every team having to be represented in the All-Star game?
That.
I think
That's
it's stupid.
So
what about Michael Lawrenson, almost pitching like a 4 ERA? George Kirby, names like that. I'm like, why are they even in the All-Star? Elias Diaz.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
That should be JT Realmuto's spot. Like, there's no reason why we should have every team represented. If your team sucks, you shouldn't have no representation in the All-Star game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why do we have to see any Oakland A's up there? I see Brent Rooker, and
I mean, he's a solid player.
He's 220 and he has 20 home runs. He got that's an All-Star. If 20 home runs with a 220 batting average by the All-Star break is an All-Star, then put me in, coach. I'm sure I could probably do that shit too.
You always injured.
I mean, not really. I really can't do that. I play softball, but I mean, you guys get my point though. There should be no reason that Brent Rooker should be on this lineup. It makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
In addition to all those pitchers and hitters that you guys named earlier, I do agree with the relievers though. I like the relievers that the both sides actually have, National League and American League. They both look really good. But the problem also with that is there's not really that many relievers that are actually good.
That's true.
Exactly, and even the starters are relievers in that game. Everybody pitches in that.
All teams are going like in this, like they're doing like committee shit. So it's very hard to pick relievers.
I think you guys all sound mad.
Consistent relievers,
a little bit.
I have a quick question.
That's because I feel like real baseball fans are going to be upset with the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask. Sorry, go Javi. Go for it.
The only thing I want to say is we're talking about the AL and the NL and how the AL looks like they got a shit ton of players, dude, as opposed to the NL. And I mean, I know we're gonna predict. We're gonna do our predictions on who we think is gonna win. I really like how the National League looks, as opposed to the American League, because I really don't like the fact that there's 5 Texas Ranger players on there. That's so fucking weird, man. But yeah, dude, like this whole thing where what Will was talking about, how fans are picking their player, the players and they're voting or whatever. I think it's terrible, because you want to see the best players out there, and I honestly don't think, like, I look at these lineups and some of these players, I'm just like, what? Like you said, Josh Young, okay, he's good, but he's not Jose Ramirez good.
If anything, Josh Young should be on the reserves, and then Jose Ramirez should be starting. I think that the coach of the team should be the one that chooses the starting lineup and the reserves. Like
Yeah.
the fans can vote the players in. That's fine. But I think the coach should have the final say on who's starting.
Yep.
My
So that's where
question,
go for it. Ask
my
the question.
question's like, why nobody invited Fernando Tatis though?
He was late to the party. He was late to the party.
But I mean, he's still having an
Yeah.
average season, and I just think a lot of fans are kind of still upset and are kind of bummed out that he got, still was serving that suspension.
Yeah, that's what I was.
But
PED.
after Corbin Carroll just went down
Yeah,
yesterday,
I think
really
that's why he.
I really thought he was going to get called up after Corbin Carroll went out last
Yeah, go
night,
ahead.
but that really surprised me that he wasn't invited at all.
Who's
Well, see,
replacing him?
so that's the thing where a commissioner comes in and he needs to go ahead and step up. But that's the thing, another thing where players have a vote that we don't know about that the commission needs to pay attention to, because they were saying
Who's,
that
who's replacing Carroll? If do you guys know?
we don't know yet, or is it out there? No, not yet. It should be out already because they're playing this game on
nobody knows.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And
but what I'm saying,
this list that I got from today was posted 11 hours ago, or 11 hours from when I did this graphic today.
Yeah.
So this is the most updated list that I've seen.
Okay, so then this brings me up to the next question. There's going to be a commissioner voted in or not voted in that he just says, I'm going to put this player into the All-Star game. Is there any players that was left out that you think that Commissioner Manfred should put into this roster? Could be anybody. And I know, Ernie, you said Tatis. You would really want him to put in Tatis into the All-Star roster?
I don't want to see him there, but I just thought it was a good question.
Yeah, no, it's a great question.
Because he is really a superstar in the MLB, right? And he's like, I know you will had him as an MVP this upcoming season. So I was wondering why not have him in the All-Star if he's that top player. But I think fans are just not over it. And I think the Rob Manfred's are just being careful and like doesn't want to stir up the pot and just keep it alone.
Yeah.
Manfred needs to grow some balls because it seems like he's just doing whatever the owners want him to do.
He is a lawyer.
Yeah.
But any players that come to mind that you guys would want on that roster though, like for me, and I'm gonna go ahead and start it. Miguel Cabrera, like he's his last year. They did that for Pujols last year, where he came into the Homerun Derby. Why not do that for this man? He's a good guy. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's a 3,000 hitter. He hit 3,000 hits. So why not have him in the All-Star game? Have a good farewell for him, and treat him right. He did everything right for the sport, I believe. And
Triple
he's
Crown winner too.
Exactly, Triple Crown. That's one of the last ones I believe that won a Triple Crown. So I don't know. Do you guys agree with that one, or maybe you guys have someone else that should be part of that?
Yes and no. I'd like to see Miguel Cabrera in the All-Star game, but I also don't want someone else to get snubbed just to put the old guy in.
No, it won't happen because the roster's already filled. That's just going to be the extra guy that they put there so he can be at the All-Star game, not necessarily play. So, I don't think Pujols played last year. He was just there with the team. And he was part of the Homerun Derby.
He was in the Derby, right?
Yeah, he was in the Derby.
That's right.
He was in the Derby. Yeah, he was in the Homerun Derby, which I think was good. It was good for the game because you got to see him in the All-Star game, and he was in the All-Star game a lot.
And he actually competed, which was like really fun to watch. Watching a 40-year-old man Pujols just still hit some bombs. That was fun to see.
Yeah. So anyone?
Yeah.
I would want Miggy. I agree with you, Carlos.
I want to say.
Go ahead, Chavi.
I agree with the Cabrera thing. I got two other guys that I thought got kind of snubbed. One of them is Yoshida from Boston. He's been a solid outfielder for these guys. Guys coming over from Japan, they either pan out or they don't. And he's been everything that people thought he wasn't going to be. So he's one of them. And then Joe Ryan, dude. How do you leave Joe Ryan off at least the reserves, bro?
Joe Ryan also has a high 3s ERA. Like he's been great, like fantasy wise, in points leagues because of all the strikeouts. But I think his ERA is up to like a
Lorenzen.
Yeah.
Lorenzen.
No, that's because they needed a Detroit representative.
Just put Miggy. Just put Miguel Cabrera instead of him.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
But that all ties into what we've been talking about, and I agree. But yeah, those are the two guys that I was like, damn, really? That
it
don't make sense to me.
just a quick update. Corbin Carroll's replacement has been announced, and it's actually going to be his teammate Geraldo Perdomo, a shortstop
Perdomo?
from the Diamondbacks.
Perdomo.
Is it because there's
Yep.
no other Diamondbacks
I
on the
saw it.
team? Is that? Oh no, there's Lourdes
Yeah, I just saw
Gurriel.
it.
I think
Where's
they just don't have
Gurriel?
any more players to get because Dansby Swanson also went out now. They just announced
He's
that
in
one
there.
as well.
He went
will
out.
not- he will also not be playing the
Gurriel's a
All-Star
reserve,
game.
fool.
Yeah, I know. I was saying like when
to
he
put him
said
as
like
a starter.
that Carroll was gone and they replaced him with his teammate, I was like, did they need another Arizona? And then that's when I saw Gurriel on there.
Also,
But they
quick
also have
update.
Zach Gallen, so they
Gurriel,
didn't need to have another
No.
Diamondbacks player.
Mm-mm.
I have,
Arizona
I have
and stuff.
another MLB update going on right now, guys. Alex Manoah is back.
Oh,
Yeah,
He
he's
started
pitching
today.
tonight.
He just had his final line. He pitched 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, and 8 Ks.
oh,
Alex Manoah is back. And
Against
that was
who?
a fantasy
Oh,
Dirty face?
shit.
The
You know what?
Royals, right?
against the Royals. I mean, I know it's
Yeah.
not a top team, but hey, man, that's MLB level, and there's still some great hitters out there. So.
That's a good lineup. That's a good lineup to start him against, though. That's
Yeah,
to get
that's
some
a good
confidence.
lineup for him to start up against.
to get some confidence. I
Yep.
agree.
You get some
Exactly.
confidence. You want to face either like the Royals or the A's.
Sorry, it was actually the Tigers.
Oh,
The
Tigers.
Oh, the Tigers. That's just as bad.
That's just bad, but hey, it's good to see him back
Different.
out there, and definitely after some rough start of 2023, he's getting back in form, which is great to see for the MLB and for you fantasy owners as well.
Yep, that's huge,
There you go.
especially for your boy. That's your boy, no, Chubby. With that's your
No,
guy.
I
I know
traded
you.
him.
Yeah, but
That's-
doesn't mean
that's,
that's not your boy.
Tony's guy right there. That's Tony's guy.
That's Tony's guy. Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
He probably just needed to rest. Like I said earlier, the pace of the game is too fast. And I think, to be honest, this guy came out saying that he doesn't even work out or doesn't do anything. Or I don't know if he was trying to be funny or sarcastic or whatever it was. But he did say, I don't work out. I mean, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't even run, I think he said. And I think Tejas from the Brewers, he said something similar where he said, I don't work out. Like, who works out in baseball? Like, and that's why they're all big, like, so.
Rowdy.
Yeah, Rowdy Tejas.
Yeah.
Like, he came
Rowdy
out saying
Tejas.
that. So that's the thing. Like, do you believe these guys? I don't know, man. It's just it's just if you feel like you need to pick him up, because I'm pretty sure he's available in a lot of leagues. If you feel like you need to pick him up, go ahead and do it. I mean, be my guest. But me, for one, I don't think I'll go ahead and do it because I just feel like this guy's not gonna be up here for a long time. And if he is, then he's gonna shut me up. All right. What else do we got, man? Do we got anything else to add to the show?
I got one all-star snub that I don't see on the lineup. And it's kind of like a little comeback player too, because he's been kind of terrible ever since he won his MVP. And that's Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich has been surprisingly very good this season. 287 batting average with 11 home runs, 65 runs scored, 21 stolen bases. Whoever thought we'd see 21 stolen bases from Christian Yelich again? He had 19 all season last year with a 250 batting average.
Damn, that's not bad.
Yeah, he's on a 40 stolen base pace. He could be a 20-40 guy this season. If that's not an all-star, that's not an all-star over Juan Soto.
Yeah,
Now, I get Juan Soto has the name.
Yeah.
But Yelich has been way better than Soto this season. And even Perdomo. Like, why wouldn't you ask Christian Yelich instead of Perdomo?
I really don't know.
See, I saw that and I was like, what?
And this is where I feel like this is the problem with the voting, because if you get voted into being a starter, whoever's the reserve, you still have enough votes to be the reserve. So you don't have those Yelich, you don't have these other players that do deserve to be there representing in the All-Star game. But I don't know. That's just one of those things where I feel that needs to change. Maybe it needs to stop being the All-Star game. It probably needs to be All-Star week or something where they have different things, not just the Homerun Derby, but what about who throws the fastest or who throws the longest? That type of thing.
Like the Japan games? Those
They
are
have the
awesome,
bunt.
man.
They have the bunt. They have to throw, hit it
Yeah.
to like a
Yeah.
center circle or
It's
something like that, right?
like when we used to play over the line.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. That's things that I would be
Punch, you
interested.
know
Like even if it's a catcher, like if you're a catcher and you could throw it to a trash can to second base or
Mhm.
whatever, how many
It's a,
times are you hitting that? You know,
it's a skills game.
exactly.
Or who's the
But
fastest runner? That would be
yeah,
fun.
that will
that'd
be
dope,
dope.
dude.
Yeah,
That'd be so
that-
dope.
Is
that'd
Ellie
be
the
really
Cruz really
dope.
the fastest guy? We want to see stuff like that.
I think we need to hit up the commissioner and let him know, hey man, it's time to change up the All Star thing.
shake things up and do what Bryce Harper said. So we've talked about this a couple times on the show. I don't think you were on yet, Ernie, but we said that Bryce Harper had an idea where the two MVPs from the previous season, the National League and the American League, would like the fans would still vote, all the players would still be there, but then they would draft their team. And it didn't have to
Ah.
be the National League, separate from the American League. You can actually choose, your own teammates. You can choose someone from the American League, the National League. It doesn't matter as long as your whole roster is filled. It's basically a fantasy draft.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? The NBA has gone to that route, and it was successful for the first couple of years. But now the NBA is going back to the old format, which is like Eastern against Western Conference. But I don't think it would be wrong for the game of baseball. Change is always good, and we could always try it out and see what kind of teams they could form. And I do agree with Bryce Harper in that one.
I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be really fun to see that. Then like the players that actually know baseball more than anyone else, they'd be the one choosing their team.
Yeah.
It makes more sense to do it that way now, I think, because before you used to get the home field advantage. If the National League won the All-Star game, they would get home field advantage and vice versa for American League, but they don't do that anymore.
No, they don't. And we're just complaining about the All-Star game instead of trying to hype it up for people to watch it.
It's still going to be a spectacle. It's still going to be really fun to watch. I feel like everyone on the starting team is a really good defender, a really good hitter. Maybe they're not the best option, but they're still going to be entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
It's still going to be entertaining because you're still going to see some of the top pitchers on there and some of the great hitters on there. But like, it's just when I was a kid and I used to watch the All-Star game, I remember seeing Griffey. I remember hearing Greg Maddux. I remember hearing Randy Johnson, like all these big names being part of that game. There wasn't a lot of players hitting the IL or saying, you know what, I'm not going to be part of this game this time. Maybe next year I'll do it, or I won't be part of this Homerun Derby. Maybe next year. Like it's a thing that the players feel like this is time for me to rest. That's what I feel now. I feel like it came to that point now that players are feeling that they need to rest more than they need to play this game. They're forgetting about the fan, and it's okay because we just talked about how many games there is in the season that they need to go ahead and reduce. So I feel maybe like moving forward, these guys, whoever's doing the marketing for All-Star game, they need to change it up. They need to revamp it. They need to make that little kid feel like, dang, I do want to see this game because I do have my favorite player playing in it. And I do want to see like Ohtani pitch and hit a home run at the same time in the All-Star game. Who wouldn't want to see that? But we're not going to get to see that this year. So I think they need to really market this part to where they already changed the game, the pace of the game. Let's focus on the All-Star game and maybe focus on the game to become a week long. I mean, not a week long, but a week long rest for these players. They get to play the game, but they also get to spend time with their families and be with their families in this long season, and that 1 week can do that for them. So we'll see what happens. We do have a little bit of time. I don't know if you guys want to go over a little bit of the fantasy stuff. I know there's not going to be a lot of fantasy movements, but there is going to be trades, and I think we should all get together on trade deadline to talk about all the trades that happen. I believe it's going to be August 2nd this year, I believe. They changed the date. It used to be the July 31st, so I believe it's on a Tuesday. So I don't know if we can go ahead and no, it's on a Monday, I believe. If we can get all together and talk about the trades, because there's going to be a lot of trades happening. There's a lot of sellers. There's a lot of buyers. And you know what? Let's not go through all of them, but let's mention one team each. Who do you think that should be a seller? And then we'll go over who needs to be a buyer. And we'll leave it at that because we already ran out of time. But we can go a little bit over because I think it's a really good topic. Will, we'll start with you. Who do you think should be a seller and should sell now?
I think the Cubs should be sellers. I think that they actually got really lucky with the Cody Bellinger signing,
Yeah.
or the trade. It was a trade, right?
No, signing.
So he's been on fire lately. The last month, he's batting over 300. I think he just got a home run, which was his first since like May something. So he did have a home run drought, but he's been putting the bat on the ball. You know, he's been pretty solid, and he's always a great defender. You know, he's Gold Glove caliber. So how many teams out there could really use a Gold Glove caliber player in their outfield? You know, he can play any outfield position. He was playing center field. If you can play center field, you can play any outfield position.
Yeah, that's a good trade. And there's
And
any
Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks has just kind of emerged out of nowhere as nowhere near an ace, you know, but he's back to his old ways where he's putting the ball on the ground a lot, relying on his infield. It's keeping his ERA low. It's keeping his whip low. I think he's a decent option for any team that needs kind of like that back end starter. Like maybe there's a team that has injuries like the Dodgers, you know, that really needs starting pitching help. There's other guys out there, Marcus Stroman and you know other teams, but Kyle Hendricks, I feel like you can get for pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick right there. Bellinger might be going to the Yankees. We don't know. We'll see. And then you have you do have a lot of other players from the Cubs that you can trade out. You just said Stroman too, but I think that one's going to cost a little bit more because I feel like the Cubs are kind of try to entertain that contract and be like, oh yeah, we'll try to sign him, and then they were like, no, we'll trade him, and they'll get something good for him. We'll go to the next one, Ernie. Man, we'll pick you. Go ahead.
You know what? There's going to be a lot of buyers and sellers this year, man. Definitely a top buyer is going to be the Phillies. They've been the hottest team in June. And, you know, with the loss of Rhys Hoskins early in the season, I know Bryce Harper has been holding them down in first base, but they definitely need another at-bat that could, like, help them down for a deep playoff run. You know, they were really close last year, and I think they were going to do another push. And for sellers, the Cardinals, man, what happened? This team just got old real quick. And they have a pretty good first baseman that the Phillies could really use. As Paul Goldschmidt's out there. And why not get rid of that contract and start over? You know, they're 12 games, over 12 and a half games back right now in July. It's just time to start over. It's totally too late now.
Dang, that's going to be a dynamite team if Paul Goldschmidt goes to the Phillies. All right. Yeah, I don't know.
Arenado too. If they're really trying to clean house, you can get rid of Arenado. You can do both of them either to the same team or separate teams or whatever. Imagine that return that they would get for Goldschmidt and Arenado. That sets them up for years in advance.
Yeah. But I think Arenado has the contract through 27, so I think that'll be a little bit harder to do. I think Goldschmidt is done after 24, so I think that's a little bit more reasonable for a team that is spending a lot of money. So, but anything can happen, right? Baseball is like that. Baseball has happened to where they traded off like a Mike Piazza. I don't know if you guys remember those trades, but Mike Piazza got traded to the Marlins, and then the Marlins traded him to the Mets. So that was pretty crazy. What do you think, Javi? Who's the seller and who's the buyer? You didn't give me your seller. Well, I mean your buyer, but we'll go back to you right now. Go ahead.
I mean, the only thing that I could think of right now is, you know, my home team, the Dodgers. They need pitching, man. Injuries are piling up. There's gonna be pitching out there, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna sign somebody, because I don't know how long the pitchers, these pitchers from the Dodgers, you know, they can stay healthy. Somebody's always injured, man. So if you can have like some kind of veteran pitcher, like, you know, Will said, Kyle Hendricks is a good name out there, or if you want to splurge and do something like Shane Bieber or somebody, you know, that'd be dope, man. But they do need help. As far as sellers,
bullpen help.
Yeah,
dude, it's crazy. Like they put up offensive numbers, but it's the bullpen that always, dude. And it's like Dodgers always do this to their fans. The bullpen comes in with a lead, and guess what? The lead is gone, and now you're like, man, fuck the bullpen. You know, they fucking suck. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the only team for me that really sticks out that needs help, that is in a playoff run. You know, the Dodgers were looked at as one of those teams that were gonna make the playoffs automatic, and now they're what is it? They're like in third place in the West, right?
No, they're in second. They're in second. They're a half
Second.
game out of first place.
They're making
Yeah.
a comeback.
They're making
But
that
it's all
comeback.
it's like it's all bunched up, dude. Like it's not
Yeah.
even set in stone. Like how do you know
Yeah.
that after the All-Star break they're not gonna take a dump and Arizona's gonna kick their ass and whoever else is behind them is it's crazy, dude. To think
There's no
that
depth anymore.
somebody-
They lost a lot of their depth.
Yeah.
they
and
did.
they're putting trust in a lot of young guys. They're
Mhm.
expecting
Yeah.
Bobby
Yeah, 'cause
Miller,
they-
Emmett Sheehan. They're expecting the most of them. Michael
Dude,
Grove.
She
They're putting
had
them. That's a tough. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it, Sheeran. They're putting them atop that. I keep confusing it with Emmett Sheeran. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
Sheehan, they're talking about him being Kershaw's replacement as the ace of the Dodgers in the future.
Really? Dang.
They look
You're
really
forgetting,
solid.
Damn.
you're forgetting about
Those are
Bueller
big shoes
and
to fill.
yeah, you're forgetting about Bueller and Dustin May. I know Dustin May is going for
So
another surgery,
they're-
but I mean, it is what it is, right?
They're talking about Sheehan being even better than Bueller, and even Bueller that has seen Sheehan pitch in the minors, he was like, "Damn, this guy is really freaking good."
Yeah.
He had nothing but good things to say about him. So we'll see.
All right. So who's your buyer right here on this one?
For Bayer, honestly, I think it's the Reds. The Reds are kind of just running away with the division, and they lost two of their big starting pitchers. They lost Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo. And, Nick Lodolo is probably not going to be back by the end of the season. They transferred him to the 60-day IL, so he's probably done. And Hunter Green, who knows when Hunter Green's going to come back, But Graham Ashcraft, he hasn't really panned out the way that everyone thought he was going to be. Andrew Abbott's actually been really good, but you can't win the playoffs with one good starting pitcher. They don't really have anyone else. They have old man Luke Weaver, and he's fine as like a back end starter, is like number 4 or 5.
Way back there.
They need a solid number 1 and 2.
I
And
agree.
Andrew Abbott is probably like a solid number 2, but if they can get that one plus like one back end starter, so like if they could get Kyle Hendricks to be their third, keep the ball on the ground, because there's so many home runs in Great American Ballpark, and I feel like he would actually thrive in Cincinnati. Keeping the ball on the ground, doesn't really put the ball in the air a lot, so I think that's one that would be good. And the Mets have been a little bit vocal about possibly trading off their pieces. So Scherzer has even said, if there's a team out there that wants to trade and I could go to contender, I would definitely waive my no trade clause to be able to go and win a World Series again. Imagine if the Reds got Scherzer and Kyle Hendricks. That's a great playoff roster right there.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's good that you did mention the Mets, because I want to mention another team that is really disappointing this year, and I feel like they can get a lot more than just what they have right now. And they have a team full of all-stars. I believe the Padres are one of those teams that should get rid of Soto. Like, I feel like he's one of those big heads in that team that is, I feel like, I don't know, Ernie, you said that they weren't getting along, right? And we had these conversations and stuff like that. But I feel like Soto, you can get a lot for him. He can probably go to the Yankees. The other one for the Padres is Josh Hader. You can get rid of him and get good buck for him. And the last one, I feel like they need to trade off. And this one's kind of, I mean, makes no sense, but I think they do need to trade off Blake Snell. I think one of the other teams, which is like a playoff contending or contender, they can benefit from that. And you just said the Reds. The Reds need that pitcher, that one pitcher that's going to put them over the top. They are in the Central. They do have that magic. Do they have enough right now? I don't think so. But at the same time, I don't think the Reds are going to try to go and spend all their freaking talent on one pitcher or just on a lot of money. So I'm not hating on the Mets. It's just the Central Division is a little weaker, and I do feel like they got it on lock. But going into the playoffs, they do need that pitcher that's going to get them over the top. And that pitcher that, for me, it could be that Blake Snell, because I don't think they're gonna they'll give up a lot for him. So and
Yeah,
I mean,
think so either.
Yeah,
And
so
he's been pitching like amazing lately.
Right.
Blake Snell has,
for
the last like month. I think he was actually the pitcher of the month for June for the National League.
I believe so, right?
He has like 5 wins in June, and more strikeouts than walks finally, because this guy just gives up walks like freaking candy. And K rate is up, whip is down. I think that he only allowed like 3 earned runs all in the month of June.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there you go, man.
Damn.
It would play out very well.
But
So,
Blake Snell's the type of pitcher that it could turn on a dime real quick.
oh, I know that.
You
I
know,
know that. But that leadership
That's
too,
got to
though.
be in the back of the head of
That
everybody.
leadership would benefit the Reds because he has been to the World Series. He has been in those playoff games that the Reds do need. I'm not saying like again.
Couldn't
I'm
even
not
make
saying.
it through 5 though.
I mean, I don't know.
Was
That's an
that
exciting
Snell's
team.
fault or was that Kevin Cash's fault?
No, that's him. That's him. He can't get through the second time. Or what is it? The third or second time?
Third time
Third.
around.
Third time around.
Third
Yeah, it's
time,
the third
homie.
time around. Yeah.
Well.
So yeah, I mean that is what it is. And we forgot other teams too, but there's so many that we need to
The
talk
White
about.
Sox could be sellers. You
Yeah.
know, they have Dylan Cease and
Oh,
if Lance
shit.
Lynn can turn things around, Giolito, you know, they have a lot of pieces that they could trade because they know they're not going anywhere. You know, unfortunately for Jasper, hopefully he's not listening to this part of the show. But the White Sox were supposed to just run away with the division, you know, starting a couple of years ago, and just Lance Lynn, man, what the hell happened to this guy? The pitch clock, probably.
Dude, how many do you guys remember?
wait.
You guys remember when we did the? Do you guys remember when we did the first episode and we were doing predictions? How many of us chose the White Sox to win that division?
Yeah.
I think everybody did.
Yeah.
Like I was one of them, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like, damn, what happened?
You look at the starting rotation and you look at the
I mean, they
lineup.
got the talent there.
On paper, they look great, but they just haven't been able to put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have an exciting
man, it's
series
crazy,
this
man.
weekend. We have the Mets and the Padres going off for this 3-game series. They're both 41 and 45, and we're going to see who wins this matchup. It's going to be interesting, but I think both teams are going to be stay put. I have a feeling they both want to make a deep run towards the second half of the season, and I don't know, man. As much as I want the Padres to be sellers, Carlos has brought up a good point in previous shows, and he does think that they're going to make a late push to win the division.
I think
Not
so.
win the division, but make the wild card.
Yeah, and I feel like they're going to be that sneaky team they were last year. That they felt like, we're not going to do anything, but then they just showed up. They all played together, and they're
going to
beat
be
the
the
Dodgers.
Phillies of 2023.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Once that trade deadline, we all gonna. You guys agree we should get on for the trade all
Yeah,
together?
definitely.
We should talk
For
baseball
sure.
and take questions that day. So clear your
Yep,
calendars
yep.
and put it
Yes,
on your
sir.
calendar and put it on the board as well.
All
right. Should I go around the horn or is that? You know what?
Oh, yeah.
I think we went over the
Oh, yeah.
thing, but
Yeah, I think we're
20
good.
seconds. 20 seconds. Xavi, last mentions. Xavi.
All-Star game prediction. NL is finally going to take one. They've lost the last 9 years, so I'm predicting them to take the All-Star game this year.
Gotcha. Ernie.
Hey guys, well we are also on this new app called Thread. Come check us out. Give us a follow. We're posting a lot of new content out there, and we would appreciate if you guys follow us there in this new app called Thread. It's taking over Twitter. Check it out. It's really conversation based. You guys will enjoy the app.
That's cool, man. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I did see it, dude, and it's kind of crazy. It is a better feed than Twitter, so it's more conversation based, which is really cool. So hopefully we get more followers on that. Will, last one, man. Last mention.
For everyone that's watching right now, if you've been with us for the whole episode or you just joined, just please hit that like button and go to our channel, our main channel, and subscribe. We would really appreciate that. Final thought. I think I'm gonna just go with against Javi on this one, and I'm gonna say the American League. They're in an American League ballpark this season, and especially like the Rangers that play in that stadium a lot. So, you know, four starting Rangers playing in a ballpark that they play, you know, at least 3 series in every season. So I think it's American League by a landslide. I think that even though they lost their injured players, like really good injured players, they replaced them with pretty solid players. And with Dusty Baker, I cannot stand Dusty Baker because of how he's, handled himself against the Dodgers in the last couple seasons. But he's a really good manager. He's old school, but he knows what he's doing. And I think that the squad that the fans picked for him is going to pull it off. Unfortunately, because I would like to see Mookie Betts win the All-Star game and Freddie Freeman. That'd be nice. But I got to give it to the American League. I think the pitching's better. I think the lineup's better. That's basically it.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm just gonna say, if you haven't tried the Immaculate, that little app or that little thing that's going on around the baseball nation, I guess, go ahead and play that, man. That's pretty fun. You get to pick players and you get to show them off to your friends, and it just tests your knowledge, cool. I think, and that's really fun. I think that's one of the things that, like, we've been talking a lot, all of us here, and we've gotten some Immaculate, scores, so we're pretty good. So if you want to test our knowledge, there you go. We have that going, and we have it on the thread. I think Ernie's putting everybody's, when we get the right score, we'll put it on there, and you can try to beat our score or whatever. I think that would be a good way to get people engaged. What's up? Game. Yeah, what's up? Go ahead.
So the lower the percentage of the player you pick, the lower the number you get.
Yeah.
Is that how you get?
You want a lower number? It's like a golf score.
Oh, okay.
So the rarer the player, the better the lower the score.
I understand that, but I'm saying, yeah. So my thing is, like, if you pick some random current player as opposed to an older player that will land in the same category, you get less points for the older player, right?
Not necessarily older, but the more rare, like the less people that.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Pick.
Like, the guy Julio Lugo that I picked for the Dodgers. That he played for the Dodgers in Tampa Bay. Okay, they traded him to play short, and it didn't pan out. He only played half a season. So if you get something like that, that's going to give you way less points and less percentage. That's a real rare player. Like, I guess you guys didn't know who he was, right?
Rare player today, and I didn't even mean to. I was just typing a bunch of letters, and he came up, and I clicked him, and it actually worked. And that was Kirby Yates. I didn't know Kirby Yates was on the Yankees. Like, what the hell?
And that's what happens sometimes. And sometimes you're making your brain hurt, and you're like, what the hell do I put? Like, I don't know. Like today, Ernie, you saw me. I was like, damn, like I know it's Natalia. It's something Perez or I forget, or Feliz. I was just like, man, I don't know what it is. I'm just gonna try this one, and it worked.
Hey, how did you remember him? It was so funny. Carlos was like, I just remember
this guy. So this guy has a huge head.
Nefertali or something, right?
Natalie Perez. Yeah, this guy had a big old freaking head, dude. Yeah. That's how I remember. He was a pest against the Dodgers when he was with the Rockies. So yeah, it was a Colorado and Detroit one right there. It was, oh my god, it sucked. But
I got my screen shared right now, so that everyone can see. This is what it looks like. Immaculate grid. So Google it; it'll come up. They got it for every sport, but we're in baseball season right now, so
yeah,
what we're doing.
Cool.
If you want to tag us on it, go ahead and tag us on it on Real Talk Baseball. I think that should be fun to watch everybody's score. So we'll do that. All right. From us here, Real Talk Baseball, Willpower, Ernie Orange, and Xavi and Carlos Baseball, Real Talk Baseball, signing out.
See you guys next week.